When developing my Welsh Fakemon region, Kelot, I wanted to include other Celtic influences. This even inspired the name. Kelot, a lot of Celt, you get it. This video discusses Fakemon inspired by myths, culture and creatures from Brittany and the Isle of Man. As I said in the Route 1 video, I based the Nutakawa line on the Kopju because they are commonly found in Brittany, but not exclusively so. Mainly because the three starters are all inspired by the other three Celtic nations I'm basing this region on, with the Four-Leaf line specifically referencing the Isle of Man. I also mentioned that Firmin's concept was influenced by the Passioning known as Ermin, but what made me think of it was seeing the flag of Brittany. Also, in the last video, I showed off Spectabi, partly based on Manx cats. But first, I am bringing you this video in partnership with Holy. Holy make powdered drinks that you add liquid to before shaking. And before you think it's just gonna taste like some watery, sugar-free alternative, something I genuinely like about it is that it just doesn't taste very grainy. They even offer a bottle designed for measuring your water and milk, and for you to shake it all together. Holy offers smarter, sugar and taurine-free energy drinks. I also want to stress that I wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable advertising to my audience members who are under 16 energy drinks. But this is not an energy drink, this is a hydration drink with a lot of electrolytes and minerals. They also offer milkshakes as well, which I think are really nice. The milkshake flavours even work with soy milk. I've tried it, so while I wouldn't recommend the energy drinks to anyone under 16, there is something for everybody with Holy. You can even customise your drink. You can mix some of the powders together, you can test how much water you want in it. You can even do what I did by accident and add 500 mils of water to the hazelnut milkshake. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but you can. If you want to get Holy for yourself, they've recently launched in the UK. You can either click the link in the description or type out the one on screen right now to get to their website. If you use my discount code Dr. Evie, you can get 10% off your order, and also you can get £5 off your first order, assuming it's over £15 overall, if you use the code Dr. Evie 5. Thanks to Holy for partnering me on this video, and back to discussing some miscellaneous Celtic Fakemon. Let me talk about Kelotian Hedgie and Hedgerow, the dark type variant of the early normal type of my last region. They are based on the Buggle Noz. Some people are now commenting, "But Mimikyu!" If you are unaware, Mimikyu's behaviour and dex entries line up with this mythical creature, but it also partly lines up with Native American and Hawaiian myths too. So this might be a coincidence. Anyways, the Buggle Noz is a nocturnal fairy creature, already explaining Hedgerow's new dark fairy typing. They are described as goblin-like, which fit the troll-like aesthetic of Hedgerow. Some describe it as looking mysterious and threatening, but others say it is benevolent, which fit the themes of the Hedgie line, as the original Hedgie was just a cute hedgehog, which isn't the same as benevolent, but it was pure of heart. I mean, look at it. But now it's a bit uglier due to the common depiction of the Buggle Noz, which also contrasts Hedgie's cute design. Admittedly, it is basically just a dark normal version of the original line, but that's all it needed to be a visual match to the myth. And, since it will also act similarly to the myth, regardless of Mimikyu is meant to be a Pokemon version, the Kelotian Hedgie line is a much more straightforward and clear adaptation, so justifies its existence. And if you want to help me justify the existence of this channel, why not like the video and subscribe? And once you've finished watching, let me know your current teams in the comments below. Back to the video. Speaking of Mimikyu, here's a variant where instead of disguising itself as Pikachu, it controls an Eevee puppet instead. Look at its happy face performing for everyone. It is based on Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
A mongoose who allegedly talked, from the Isle of Man. Some depictions of Jeff refer to it as a weasel as well, so I just thought, nondescript mammal? That's Eevee. But why Mimikyu at all? Well, along with the fact that it's already ghost type, which the Kelotian form keeps, due to Jeff referring to himself as a poltergeist, and others referring to him as a spook, skeptics of the Jeff story claim it was all a hoax, and that the Irving family pretended that this animal could talk, much like Mimikyu pretended to be something else so that people would like it more. If Jeff was faked, ventriloquism was likely involved, which made me think of puppetry, hence the appearance. The yellow buttons reference a description of Jeff's eyes. I imagine in a hypothetical Kelot anime, a Kelotian Mimikyu could have a rivalry with Team Rocket's Meowth. It would emote with Mimikyu's real eyes, but because it also learned how to speak due to its newfound psychic typing, it would talk using the mouthpiece. Oh yeah, it's Ghost Psychic, for several loose reasons. One reason for the new psychic typing is, well, speech is a sign of intelligence, and I've made other psychic types themed around intelligence before. There were also psychics and psychologists investigating this phenomenon. Ventriloquism is also a type of illusion, very psychic coded. And finally, the controlling of the puppet can be explained by telekinesis, although it could also be due to poltergeist-like abilities, which Jeff described himself as. And Kelotian Mimikyu is a ghost type as well. Overall, good excuse for me to have something Eevee related, especially since it's the other series mascot. Another variant of an Alolan Pokemon based on Breton mythology is Kelotian Persimmon, now mono rock type. They are based on a kind of lutin, a fairy creature from Brittany, called Jettins, which are dwarves that live in caves that throw rocks, and are strong enough to throw rocks much bigger than them. While we haven't depicted this in its key art, Persimmon would be able to do this. The fruit, which was replaced with a rock, is meant to represent a rugby ball, or the American football. But I'm not referencing Leigh Sports. I'll elaborate more on this in a regional variant specific video. Another kind of lutin is the Pilu, which I based the mono-fighting Jurbeat on. Pilus are depicted as small and unseen, but can be heard, speculated to be because they have mallets or big feet. This made me think of martial arts, which bridge the gap between sport and art. And arts are a big theme in Kelot. Taekwondo is popular in Wales, which Kelot, as I said, is primarily inspired by. And it also involves a lot of kicking, hence the appearance of Jurbeat resembling a Taekwondo uniform. The big feet, as well as the fluffy description, made myself and my Discord mods think about Jerboas. I didn't want to make this just a Jerboa, so colours and proportions were tweaked, such as giving it pointy ears because it's a kind of fairy. I didn't want to make it fairy type because there are already a lot in Kelot. For the last Breton Pokemon of this video, keep watching for the Manxmon by the way, how about the ghost bug Carapace? This Grim Reaper looking mon is not actually based on the Grim Reaper, but close enough. It's based on Ankou, a servant of death that appears in Celtic folklore, specifically Welsh, Cornish, and Breton mythology, the latter also having a different variant of Ankou in every parish. I would describe Ankou's appearance, but it's just the Grim Reaper with a cart to carry the dead, or a coach pulled by some horses to do the same thing. Some depictions of this guy are that he's some nasty prince who met death and got on his bad side, or the first man to die that year, or the king of the dead, or even the firstborn of Adam and Eve. If we look back at that first description where he was a prince who death thought was an asshole, the reason why he was turned into his servant of death was because this prince challenged death to see who could kill a stag first. Death won. Stags are deer, and deer not bug, but stag beetle bug, but Carapace not stag beetle. I wanted to draw some inspiration from Deathwatch beetles, which are found in Brittany, and also get their name from being symbolically seen as a harbinger of death due to being most audible at the vigils of the dying. Probably because people aren't talking during them, but still. Before I get into talking about Manx Pokemon, why don't you consider becoming a YouTube member or joining my Patreon? Paid members of either will get to see updates on videos early, including seeing the final edit before anyone else. You even get your name shown at the end of the video. Thank you for even considering it, but if you can't, subscribing here for free helps out as well. Another variant of a Chroneomon, and the final variant of this video I promise, is Kelotian Dreadcap. It is based on the Munja Vega, which is Manx for little people. They are fairy creatures in the Isle of Man, hence Dreadcap's new type. They like singing and playing tricks. The stick has a flame on it, as there is a custom where the Manx leave their fires on during the night, so that a Munja Vega would come in and enjoy it. They are said to wear green cloaks and red caps, much like Redcaps, the Scottish myth that the original Dreadcap was based on, hence why I made this variant. The Munja Vega are also said to be followed by packs of small dogs of various colours of the rainbow, so I made Rain Bow Wow, another mono fairy type. I decided to base it loosely on Sealyham Terriers. There isn't really a Manx dog breed, so I went with the Welsh one. Rain Bow Wow is very weak, 150 base stat total. Yeah, even Solo Wishy-Washy has a higher one. But there's 7 different forms. Or is there 8? Ever since I first showed Dreadcap, people wanted it to evolve. I never liked this. It was designed to be a little guy with a 500 BST. Complete ankle-biter energy. So instead, I took loose inspiration from Tatsugiri and Dondozo, and direct inspiration from how the Munja Vega ride steeds. And I made a larger form of Rain Bow Wow with 650 BST, which is the other two added together. Maybe it has Skill Link as an ability? As, in a double battle, it is one big Rain Bow Wow with a Dreadcap on its back, which would count as one Pokemon against 2 of the opponent's Pokemon. Unless I suppose if they're battling with another Dreadcap Rain Bow Wow duo? Or Tatsugiri and Dondozo, come to think about it. Time for another mammal from the Isle of Man, known for the colour of its fur. But this one isn't a myth. Meet the Manx Lochtan, a breed of sheep named after the brown colour of its wool. Its fancy horns, which it can have 2, 4, or 6 of, looked sharp and pointy, which made me think of swords, so a steel-type sheep made sense. Funnily enough, JJ Mons showed me a sketch for a sheepmon he made, but wasn't sure what to do with it. So I offered to buy it if he made tweaks to the design. So meet Metal! I wanted to base it on steel wool, a utensil used to clean surfaces. It's called steel wool, and sheep have wool. It's not hard to see what the connection is. It doesn't have horns yet, just metal nubs which will grow into them. The Manx Logtan's wool, just like most wool, is used for clothing, and is one of the main reasons it is bred, with the other being for food. So its wool is metal and also used for clothing. So like armour. What knights wore. The same knights which carry swords. Which is why I made a steel-type sheep in the first place. This all works out. I might as well show the middle and final stages together. Ramesh is a ram that has its wool woven and braided to become chainmail mesh, which is hard to visualise in the Pokemon art style, so trust me on this. And Ferram, whose name comes from ferrum, Latin for iron, and ram, and it now has armour plating. The Manx Logtan has a wax coating on its wool, so I like to think that Ferram produces a sort of metallic wax that coats its body, which also makes the wool on the top of its body shinier. It also has the crazy horns that I loved when I saw the Manx Logtan. Now, Logtan is a Manx term describing a brown colour, so it's shiny as bronze to more accurately showcase this. The final stage has golden armour to reference the Golden Fleece as well. From Manx Logtan to Manx Shearwater, we have Temptavian, a dark flying type. And yes, it is not a loon. The Manx Shearwater is the bird that was once called a puffin before puffins were called puffins. They get their name because they are seabirds which fly close to the water, cheering it you might say, and they are commonly found in the Isle of Man, but roost all across the North Atlantic Ocean to breed. So why the dark type? The Manx Shearwater is nicknamed the Devil Bird, thanks to the call it makes. Don't you just find it eerie? So I kinda went hard in that direction, with 6 segments on the wings, 6 nostrils, 6 toes, devil horns and a devilish grin. The demonic imagery also works because of how, according to 2021 census data, over half the population of the Isle of Man is Christian, and Wales having around 43.6% of its population being Christian, making it the largest religious group outside of not having one. Because its satanic sounds are naturally of the audio medium, my mind wandered to music. I do have a few Birdmon based on music in this region, but this one is the only one directly based on musical instruments. I thought it would be cute if it could use its beak and several nostrils as a sort of flute. But, as you may already be aware, the devil is known for using a fiddle. The wing structure was meant to allude to the 4 strings a violin has. There wasn't really a good way to represent it visually, but in terms of its behaviour, this mon does use music to tempt other Pokemon either to do evil acts or to prey upon. I think this is a fitting Pokemonification of the call of the devil bird. Time for another dark type, a 3-stage line no less. Meet Molrord, Fovine and Duger. All are dark ground type. They are based on the Bagane, a creature from Manx folklore similar to ogres or the Scandinavian troll. Now these don't really look like they are part of the same line. The artist and I did try to add some unifying features and give them all the same colour scheme. They look so different from one another to reference how the Bagane are shapeshifters. Their common features are black fur, sharp tusks and glowing eyes like they are torches, all descriptions that are commonly attributed to the true form of the Bagane. Bullhorns too, but Molrord doesn't, they've not come in yet. Molrord is also an outlier since the Bagane is sometimes depicted as a cow or a demon man with horse ears and feet, not really a mole rat. This was just a way to emphasise the shapeshifting aspect by making it a 3-stage, but this doesn't come from nowhere. This is loosely inspired by the creature's appearance in Pathfinder, which is based on a naked mole rat. Now, despite it being a fairy sort of creature, I just felt dark made more sense, and not just because of the black fur colour. One tale has a Bagane tear the roof of a church, and other tales describe it as not being able to cross hallowed ground, i.e. it cannot tread on land that is holy. Such an unholy creature should be dark type, no? Speaking of ground, I think the ground type needs more explanation. Firstly, cows tend to be associated with earth as an element, and the only remotely cow-based Pokemon that is ground typed so far is Gastrodon, which isn't a cow and would need more explanation that I do not have time for in this video. Fovine also technically isn't a cow, hence its name, but it still has some characteristics of a cow. Along with not being able to cross hallowed ground, it also can't cross water, and dark ground Pokemon are weak to water type moves. But the main reason is because Baganes are occasionally recruited by fairies to punish those who have wronged them. What types are fairy weak to? Poison and steel. both are weak to ground. I'm actually quite proud of this connection. If the previous line could not cross water, then what about a mon that lives in the water? Meet Suscal, the water fire type scallop Pokemon that is also a chef. The scallop shell has been adapted into a chef hat, and a grill shape on this hat to make it look more like a chef hat. But also it acts as a grill, so it can cook its delicious meals. It carries a coral staff that acts as a spoon or ladle. It can also evolve into Miscalin if it uses Temper Flame 20 times. The reason it is super feminine, treating a scallop shell as a dress evoking the birth of Venus, is because the kind of scallop it is based on is the queen scallop. People in the Isle of Man love these scallops so much they even have a colloquial name for them. Queenies! Miscalin is the queen of all Suscal. I felt like I needed a chef mon due to Kelot's theme of arts, and the culinary arts made sense to add, and applying it to scallops was a fun idea with an interesting type combo for what kind of creature it is. The flesh inside of a scallop is even white and orange, which gave me fire type vibes. That even made me think Miscalin should resemble Fire Peach, but the white also makes it resemble chefs, as they typically wear white. These ended up so cute. Also in the waters of the Isle of Man is a small island called the Buru, translating from Manx to English as the Berg. It resembles a dragon having a drink from the water. I'm not ready to show it quite yet, so stay tuned for that. Let's end on a new evolution for an official Pokemon. The Isle of Man likes motorbikes and motorbike racing, so Cyclizar is getting a new evolution. So here's Tracklizar. Yes, it has become a racing track. You may have expected some form of middle ground version of Koraidon and Miraidon, but Cyclizar was already that in a way. Plus, I feel personally that it would be kind of uninspired. Also, what type would I make it? Can't really replace normal with fighting or electric, and having any other type would just feel weird. Hence why I didn't make a variant, and why the evolution is still Dragon Normal. I don't like it when Fakemon creators take a normal dual type Pokemon and replace the normal type without a very good reason. I have before and I will again, but I feel like I have good reasons for those. But they don't apply in this case. I also don't like doing the Pokemon again but bigger with no additional concept baked in whatsoever. But I do feel like a motorbike becoming a motorbike racetrack is an interesting evolution for the concept. I got inspired by the Manx myth of the Beast Kiondu, which translates as the Beast of Blackhead, said to be found in a cave at the Blackhead Cliff in the Isle of Man. It is a sea serpent, and I connected the shape of serpentine beings with a racecourse, especially if it bit the end of its tail. I will elaborate more about it in the cross-gen evolutions video. But that's it for this video. I hope these slight deviations from Wales haven't been too jarring. Special thanks to the artists who made this video possible, as well as my members and patrons. Join if you can and if you want to see the next video early. That's all from me, but I will see you next time.